Hi, I'm Cash, and welcome back to Cash Talks Football, where I break down all the goals scored in the Premier League. And today we are some of the coaching points and sessions we're going to cover. Key points that we're going to cover. We've covered a couple of these before on the channel, but it is shocking of how many times these repeat themselves in the Premier League. And hopefully you can take some of these little lessons on board and maybe become a better coach or a better player yourself. Or you can identify these situations that are happening and just make sure it doesn't happen when you're playing on your team. Right, today we're covering the Newcastle against Sheffield United. And Sheffield United were kind of in this game. They really didn't take their chances, but then there's one decision that changes everything, and then the collapse happens. If anyone's ever been on a team that's been beaten before, throughout the season, there's sometimes key trigger and moments that happen, and then your whole team just goes, we've lost again, and gives up. They could have scored a couple of more goals. Their just finishing wasn't quite good enough. Or, actually, I wouldn't have to say that. They did. The Newcastle defenders were actually blocking pretty well. But this is from a little short corner routine here. They just do a little give and go and ping the ball all the way down here for a deep lining cross. Now, this is one thing you don't see much of, really, in open play, is people just trying to whip the ball into the box. Now, you can see the Newcastle defenders have slowly been just lost their way from a simple little pass. They're all kind of ball watching, and they're leaving everybody unmarked here on the back post. And you can see this building up here and here. Not only that, if you've watched me before, you know that I always talk about having somebody on the D, because the D is really important. If you don't have somebody up here on the D, you get massive problems eventually, on the second balls, or this is where the area normally lies. If you want to score goals as a player, stand around here, because the ball will drop to you if you have 10 corners, it will probably drop to you 3 times. But let's just move this. Now, the interesting thing is when this ball just comes in, you can see the Newcastle line. They try to get out. They tried to push up. But the easy thing is, when you've got this much time, and it doesn't seem like much time, but it really is, for the Sheffield United players, they can analyse the situation and see, do they really have to get out? And they don't, because this guy was back here. He makes a long little curving run, and it's a brilliant run, to be fair, and he gets himself a goal. Nice little header down, headers it down into the ground and goes. Remember, if you're trying to score goals, you header it down. If you're trying to get rid of them, you header it up. That's all you really need to think about. Headering the ball down is really difficult to defend. Headering it up gives you time to get under it, someone else to defend it for you, and that's why you header balls up and away, and you're down to score. Let's get on to the next goal. This is really a bit shocking. The ball's played from here, right? And yeah, this guy has turned round in the time the ball has travelled to there, but he's nowhere near close enough. The guy's walked from the halfway line to there, and there's no pressure on the ball. They've made it really, really easy for Newcastle to be able to pass this ball in from behind them here. This line here is too stagnant. They've got the big gap here in the middle. Their shape just seems always broken. Every time I see Sheffield United, it just seems like there's one problem after another problem after another problem. You can't ever look at them and go, oh, look, yeah, they've got a solid line there, and you can see that their midfield set so they can press or be compact at the back. It just doesn't ever seem to be that way. But the ball goes through to Isaac here. I think I'm saying his name right there. And he kind of reminds me of Jackson and Darwin Núñez and Isaac. I think Isaac's by far the better striker. This guy gets one opportunity and he'll get 3 goals. He's that good. But I do prefer Darwin Núñez just for the chaos factor. Watching Darwin Núñez, you don't know what he could do. He can headbutt himself and get somebody else sent off. He can score a hat-trick from the halfway line. He's just, to me, a fun player to watch because he's just so chaotic. This guy here has great movement up front, and he's very clinical in front of goal. You can see, look, he's run that line perfect. The quality of the ball helps him as well. He doesn't have to take a touch or do anything. His first touch is his shot. Look, just runs in, bosh, and he's finishing it straight away. That is a lot to do with the quality of the pass, but also do with the quality of him as a player. Doesn't need to take a touch, doesn't need to think about it, just puts it in the back of the net box. Well done, young man. I still think he's going to go, get better, this guy. Okay, I'm going to say it again. Why is the line this high? You're giving them this much space to run into. They want space to run into because space is dangerous. This is basic coaching 101. The amount of goals that have been scored in the Premier League this season from this exact scenario that I'm talking about here is mind-blowing, right? So they want the space because the strikers want to attack the space and have nobody in it. The defenders do not want to be running towards their own goal because if they touch the ball, chances are it goes in their own goal. Yet these clowns have seen a coaching thingy and no, we've done the statistic analysis and said this is what's happening. Yeah, but there's also a difference to the statistic analysis of who's putting the ball in. right? It's not just simple about, oh, this is what the numbers say. No, I'm telling you, you can't keep doing this. You just, they get found out every single time that they have a high line. If you have your line here and you can run out and defend, it's easier because there's your goal and you're getting the ball away from the goal. If you keep running towards the goal, you're going to keep having goals scored on you, and that's exactly what happens here. The other point as well is some players drop back, some players don't drop back because they're not quite sure what to do, they don't quite trust each other, and it just becomes a mess. If you have a deep line, you know you can all get out. You can keep them in, like they'll all be there, the ball's played, you can all step up, get them offside, you can challenge the ball's in front of you, away you go. Every time you do this, the ball goes in behind you. You don't want the ball in behind you as a defender, but yet for some reason, they're doing this over and over again. Oh look, and someone's peeling off on the back post and gets himself a goal. What a shock. Let's get on to the next goal. I'm going to burst a blood vessel yelling about this. Oh, and at the end of the season, you'll see I'm going to do a compilation of all the goals, in certain key areas that keep happening, from whether it's the D or these free kicks that keep going on. And there'll be long things for instance, Manchester City, all the goals they've scored, blah. Manchester City, all the goals they've conceded, blah. So you can have a good look at them all, and you can just watch them all in one little video so you can see what's been going on. So this is where I have a problem, that this is not a penalty. If it is, there's if you go through my videos for this weekend, you'll see a whole bunch of other games where there's very minimal contact, and literally they haven't given a penalty for it, right? And it's like when people have clicked heels together and done all sorts of stuff, you can go, oh yeah, by the letter of the law, it's kind of a pen, but it's not really. This actually looks like, to me, it's probably outside the box as well. Look, that's where he's going down, outside the box. You can see where the line is. How is this given as a penalty? I do not know. But here's the other point about it as well. That means all the hard work. Sheffield United are 2-1 down. Suddenly someone makes a silly mistake. It's called the referee. And they're 3-1 down. And then they just give up. That's what happens. You just give up. Like 2-1, you've created more chances than them. Ish, maybe not, but it's close. I mean, proper goal scoring chances. Sheffield United were doing okay this game. And now that happens. It's clearly outside the box. They've given it as a penalty. And your whole team now has just lost all its confidence. Up steps this Isaac character, slots it into the net box, does a good job. Let's get on to the next goal. And this is what ends up happening is you've just lost a goal. You just don't, you're not feeling it anymore because the game's kind of lost at 3-1. So there's a rule that we used to use, like if you play like kiddies soccer and stuff, if you're losing 9-0, it's equivalent almost losing 3-0 at 11v11. When you're losing 9-0, it's almost impossible to pull it back. Actually, I think it was we call it kiddie football, but it's really indoor, 5v5 and stuff. Because when you're losing 6-2 and 5v5, you get 2-3 quick goals and you're back in it, and all of a sudden you can win the game. It's very similar, like if you're losing 2-0, you get a quick goal and you're back in the game. If you're losing 3-0, you get a goal and you're like, it doesn't make any difference at all. So I'll have to explain that better, but yeah. So as this drops into the box, Bosch has a little header, knocks it down, but you can just see it's just a scramble. When your luck is against you, your luck is against you. And it ends up being a Sheffield United own goal. He puts it in his own net box. Everyone's laughing and joking. Yay, we're the best, 4-1. Sheffield United are losing yet another one. And you can see they've given up on this last goal. Look how many players are around them. No one is close enough. Well, no one's really challenging for the ball or just caring. Just like, yeah, whatever, mate. Runs through the heart of their team. Flicks the little ball up over the top of everybody. It's completely on his own. Takes a touch and just rifles it into the net box. You can't really rag on the Sheffield United defenders at this point because there's so many things that's wrong with them. It is just literally their minds have gone and they just don't want to be there at that point. They know they've lost. They just want to get on a bus and go home. Smashes it into the net box and there we go. I'll see you next time on Cash Talks Football.